Welcome to the Anxiety Coaches Podcast, a relaxing and informative show where we explore anxiety, panic, and PTSD, sharing how you can overcome them for life.
Aloha! Welcome back to the Anxiety Coaches Podcast. I'm your host and coach, Gina Ryan, and I am so happy to be with you again today as together we can consider the many ways to bring your mind and body back to its natural peace and calm. In today's episode, I'm talking about how subconscious anxiety behaviors are impacting you. I know we've been talking a lot about this in these last few episodes, actually talking about sanctuary trauma in the last episode, and this brought me to the thought of how much is really down there in our subconscious and how we don't give it a lot of attention. Most of our stuff in our psyche is unconscious. We used to think 90% was unconscious. I think they're up to like 95 or above as far as what's there deep inside of us that is not only there, but sometimes it bubbles up and it wants to be released. And sometimes we push it down like trying to hold that beach ball under the water. But I want you to see how the subconscious anxiety behaviors are impacting you and what is happening and how you are a part of it, of what's going on and what you can do. So, is your everyday life normal? You probably think it is, but is it stressful? I don't know. That's a good question to ask. We all think our life is normal. Doesn't everybody feel rushed for time, have digestive issues, headaches, or whatever? Your mind and body are acting out to let off some steam? Well, no, actually. But it's not uncommon for people to report to me that they are not stressed and they don't know why they are now having all of these physical symptoms and sensations that their healthcare team often can't find any rhyme or reason for. If we begin to dig a bit and take a hard look at the reality of the day in and day out schedule or thought process that arises throughout the day, we can see the telltale signs of subconscious anxiety behaviors. So let's look at how you actually may be living a more stressful life than you might be aware of. You might be behaving anxiously and not even realize it. An immediate conscious feeling of worry or fear doesn't always accompany anxiety. Sometimes we engage in anxious behaviors such as constant planning, overthinking, avoiding situations without realizing that these actions are driven by an underlying anxiety, and these behaviors can contribute to a continuous state of stress. It could be that you believe you can or you should be able to handle all of this stress. Like I said earlier, isn't this normal? Being in denial of the stress level you are under is a common but potentially concerning issue. When an individual finds themselves in a state of denial about their stress levels, it means that they are either consciously or unconsciously downplaying or ignoring the extent of stress they are experiencing. This is important, and I have to say this because I hear it all the time, but that's my work, right? I talk to people who are anxious, that are having all kinds of experiences, and we dig and we dig and we talk and we uncover and things come out, and they have aha moments about this level of stress that they are living day in and day out without realizing it, with thinking instead that everything is fine. This is normal life. This is how life is in 2023. Now, I will say there are many things in our life that we cannot change. Situations, whether they be financial, whether they be with our relationships, our current state of affairs in the world, so forth and so on, that we do not have a lot of control over or can't change in the immediate moment. But understanding it and seeing it for what it is important, rather than just, like I said, pushing it down, like pushing that beach ball under the water. No, just ignoring it. We need to get out of denial, because just being aware and admitting what is going on and how stressful all of those events are begins to lighten the load. And there are several reasons that we are downplaying or ignoring the extent of our stress that we're experiencing. Again, it could be just normalization. Over time, we become so accustomed to these high stress levels, we believe everybody's doing it, and we perceive it as a normal part of daily life for everybody. And so we should just be able to do it. And we think that everyone deals with these similar stress levels, and therefore what we do then is to fail to recognize the negative impact this is all having on our well-being. It's important for us to remember, as I have said in previous episodes recently, this is all very individual. What is going to stress me out might not stress you out, and vice versa. So you can't really begin to look at the world, well, that's normal, everybody does it. What is it for you? What can your nervous system handle? And we want to stop normalizing high stress levels and continuous driven behavior. You know, some people consciously avoid acknowledging their stress because they fear its implications for their responsibilities and commitments. So avoidance is a big part in here, because this can lead to the head in the sand mentality, where they pretend everything is fine when it's not. So this is the flip side of thinking that everybody lives this crazy life. You could be thinking everything's fine. Everything's okay, just pretending. I don't see that stack of bills over there. I don't need to know about all of this blah, blah, blah that's going on. I'm just going to whistle as I work and go about my day. Now, that could be real for some people, and I know people like that. But it can be, if you are ignoring, procrastinating, not taking care of responsibilities, sticking your head in the sand, for the most part, that kind of avoidance is a huge stress on your life. And that becomes a behavior, an anxious behavior that lands in your subconscious. You are not aware of it because you're thinking, everything's fine. This is the story I tell myself. Avoidance. Check in, see if that might be something happening for you. Another place is stigma. There is a stigma, and it's often associated with admitting to stress. I actually see this a lot with professionals that I work with. They have a feeling that they cannot admit to having stress or mental health challenges at all. And this societal stigma can discourage us from acknowledging our stress and seeking help, because they fear judgment. We fear judgment or discrimination. If we think that everybody around us are peers, oh my goodness, what if they find out? And I hear this a lot more than you might imagine. This is very real. So it's almost like the higher up you go on the ladder, the harder it is to be real and to get through any kind of stress level. So what do? You kind of hide it. You put it under wraps, and it becomes subconscious. You begin to identify with the outer that you are showing the world. Oh, look, he's great. Climbing the ladder. Got it all together. Look at that. She's a super mom. She can do everything. No, it may very well be that they are suffering with things they are not connecting to being anxious, but their body is giving them clues that you are living a stressful life. So the stigma can keep it hidden, keep it under wraps, and this becomes behavior that you never even look at. People also may think of themselves as strong, resilient, or capable of handling anything that comes their way. So this kind of self-perception can also be an anxiety behavior because you're protecting yourself by saying, I'm strong, I'm resilient, I can handle anything. And I know you guys can handle a lot, so can I. But when we are getting too much and we can't handle it, it's okay to admit it. It's okay to ask for help. We don't have to carry that self-perception and hurt ourselves with it because it is driving our anxiety deeper into our subconscious. Admitting to high stress levels may seem like a sign of weakness, leading to denial. So you can see this cycle. We perceive ourselves as not being able to admit to any of this that's going on in this high-stress life we have. We see it as a sign of weakness. We don't talk about it, leads to denial, which just digs it deeper into our subconscious. Your level of stress is elevated even though to you it feels like normal. And that happens all the time. And when we start to uncover it, it's amazing what's under there. And once you realize it, you can actually do something about it. People often become desensitized to their own stress levels, especially if they've been dealing with stress for an extended period of time. What once felt like normal, a normal level of stress, can actually be much higher than what is healthy, leading to the normalization of anxiety symptoms without realizing they're stress-related. You might discount or be unaware of how stress is causing your symptoms. Anxiety symptoms are often manifestations of stress, which can result from various sources in your life. It could be work-related pressures, it could be family issues, financial concerns, or any other life challenge. But recognizing these underlying stressors is crucial to understanding why you might be experiencing anxiety symptoms. Sometimes anxiety can be a reaction to an underlying emotional issue or unresolved past trauma. Without addressing these root causes, you may experience anxiety-like symptoms without understanding their origin. Identifying and addressing these underlying factors is essential for effective anxiety management. It really could be that you aren't aware of the unconscious mind factors that are causing your anxiety. But another place is that your body could actually be stuck in hyperstimulation. Because prolonged exposure to stressors, even if they seem normal or manageable, can lead to a state of chronic stress. Over time, your body becomes accustomed to high stress levels, and this constant stimulation can manifest as physical symptoms of anxiety, the ones that are stuck in your body, such as muscle tension, the rapid heartbeat, I hear about this a lot, restlessness, inability to fall asleep, waking up in the middle of the night. This can be all signs of hyperstimulation. And you may be overlooking the effects of medications in your life. The medications that you are taking, even medications for anxiety, because certain medications have side effects that mimic anxiety symptoms. It's important to be aware of any medications, potential side effects, and discuss them with your healthcare provider. Adjusting your medication regime or seeking alternative treatments may alleviate these symptoms. You could have other factors causing your anxiety-like symptoms, such as medical conditions, like thyroid disorders would come under this heading, hormonal imbalances, or cardiovascular issues. They can all cause anxiety-like symptoms, just like medications can. It's essential to consult a healthcare professional to rule out any underlying medical causes for your symptoms and receive appropriate treatment. I often am talking to people who have already done that. They have all of this done. They have taken care of everything. I'm usually like the last resort, or the medical team, the hospital, or the doctor may have said to them, I think this is just your anxiety. And then that's when I get a call. So I want you to relax, because if you are taking care of yourself, doing your self-care and getting yourself in a position where you know that your medical conditions are not the cause of what's going on, and you think this is from stress, and we all have stress in our life, believe me, we all need to do the practices I talk about here. Because even though I know all this, I still get, my life is stressful. Things happen, right? So we need to be aware. And you've checked with your doctor, your healthcare team, you've taken care of all of that. Now it's time for you to work on these underlying subconscious anxiety behaviors. They're no longer subconscious once you're aware of them. That's why I'm talking about this over and over. I want this stuff to be bubbling up in you so you can deal with it. So it doesn't have to be in your subconscious coming out as a headache, a rash, joint pain, whatever. Remember to be kind to yourself, please. Anxiety symptoms can manifest in various ways, and sometimes you may not immediately recognize the presence of anxiety or stress in your life. Understanding these hidden sources of stress, strain, and anxiety is the first step out of the wormhole of anxiety panic. You got this. And now for today's quote. Your body hears everything your mind says. And that's from Naomi Judd. I'll be back in a few more days with another podcast. Until then, be well and aloha.
Thanks so much for joining us for today's episode of the Anxiety Coaches Podcast. Find more information at theanxietycoachespodcast.com.